Okay, here we go. Let's go. Welcome to Shelf Life number 46. And this is a special episode because we are going to be talking about 1 year of reading and creating content around books, book-related things, what I've learned, what the future of this channel holds, and yeah. So, wow, it's been a year. What a journey it has been with you guys. Let's do our mandatory first sip. Tonight I have a hot mug of peppermint tea, and it's like everything in my house right now is turning on. Everything that can be making noise makes noise. The dehumidifier, the hot water heater. I didn't turn on the dryer this time, so that's good. And that's still way too hot. Way too hot. I have that change of the season tickle of the throat. Current reading update. I am on page 430 of our Girthy Gal Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. I'm not worried about pronunciations. Same thing with this. Fyodor. Like Theodore. Fyodor. I know, but Fyodor Dostoevsky. But that is not going to be the star of the show. I am plowing through that. I am taking some serious notes with it. But that is for another day. The future of this channel. But right now, we have this to go over. And, dude, I was honestly a little surprised over how much I read this year. This, you know what? You can stay here, Fyodor. Now you're kind of sucking up this spotlight right there. I'm kind of surprised with how much I actually read. I kind of was beating myself up because at the beginning of the year, January, everyone was planning the year. My best of the year, my top of the year, blah, blah, blah. And I had made a list, 25 for 25, and I did not get anywhere near that because of this girl right here, Gravity's Rainbow, Thomas Pynchon. This was the first book of the 2025 year, not of our year. So I had been measuring off of January, but when I look back, we started this in September, and I think I had just finished Omensetter's Luck, which is over there. And I finished Omensetter's Luck, and I was beginning with Death in Spring. And I had been kind of thinking about doing reviews, a little bit of history on the channel. And I was watching a Life on Books podcast. I bet a lot of you know who Tony is. And he was doing an interview with, I think the gentleman's name, forgive me if I'm wrong, Chad from Open Letter. And Tony asked him, what could people do to start making books and reading cool again? And Chad was like, you need to make content. You need to just get over yourself and start. And I had been wanting to do a channel where I actually put my face. I've done multiple channels before with music or with my paintings where it's just like, all right, look at my hand. No talking, no interaction. And it was like, I know I need to get on camera and yap. That's what needs to happen. So the books was the perfect excuse. So that's how the channel started. From that encouragement from Tony and Chad from Open Letter. And at the time I was reading Death in Spring, or that might have been like the beginning of our year here. Let's see what we have. My goodness. So according to what I have written down and what I have in Storygraph and Goodreads and everything, I'm going to go down the list. These two stacks, right? Remember how I beautifully put together my stack of NYRB books and I had everything all nice and neat? Guess what? This is my stack right here of what I read in the past year. Beautiful. I had read White Knights in my phone. Let's just start with those. The digital reads. The mentions, that cannot be here. I did not have this copy. I got this when I overhauled over at my uncle's. But this has Notes from the Underground and, let's see, White Knights. White Knights, number 3. That was my third book of my year since September. That one's in here. The other one was Algernon Blackwood, The Willows, and I don't have the author's name, but The Yellow Wallpaper. those were my digital reads of the year. And to be honest, I've done digital. I'm not feeling it. I read Don Carpenter. The name is eluding me right now. I read that whole book. It's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come during this episode. But I read that on my phone, and I got to read it. That was great. But if I can choose a medium, it's physical media, old school, analog, books, no power, doesn't need to be charged. This is what's good for me in my eyes. I can mark them up, which is one thing I learned over the year. Marking up the books. Don't be afraid to mark up your books with highlighter, pen. Go back, because you're going to need it if you're creating content, because you're going to need to talk about stuff. Also, get a notebook, because your phone's going to be occupied. So I'm just going to read off the list. What I have here, it might be out of order, but here we go. The Moviegoer, The Moon is Down, White Nights, Death in Spring, Yellow Wallpaper, Speedboat, The Willows, Lonesome Dove, Hour of the Star, White Noise, The Tunnel, Dubliners, Meditations, Gravity's Rainbow, War, Desperate Characters, Canary or Cannery Row, Solenoid, The Iliad, The Count, Vineland, Satan Tango, The Republic, The Prince, Black Mountain Poems, Ezra Pound, Moby Dick, and currently reading Schadenfreude. And with my son, probably one of the most rewarding reading experiences is reading out loud with my son. We got through Harry Potter's The Sorcerer's Stone, which I am counting. And holy cow, guys, I never thought, like if I looked at my reading career about a year ago, it would have been like, oh, I really wish I could be like one of these people I'm watching. They seem so well read. They have so much to say about these books, and I just did not believe in myself. And this has been a big confidence boost. And part of that is because of you guys. You guys have been supporting me through and through, encouraging me to put stuff up every week. I'll miss a week. It's like, hey, where's the show? And it keeps me honest, keeps me coming back. And it's fun, man. I love doing this. I love you guys helping me out with the pronunciations. I love you guys helping me out with you should read this before you read that. It's been great. And there's quite a community. I'm sorry, in my circle of blue collar people and the bandmates, everyone's great, but I do not know anybody who does any real reading. Okay, I love David Goggins' book, but there is more out there than David Goggins' books. And I'm one of the biggest fans of David Goggins that I know. You know what I mean? Cam Haines' book, Jocko, all that's all the self-help books. Those are great, fantastic, but I need some literature. And making content, putting myself out there, being brave has made me meet and connect with so many worthwhile people. Incredible. Let's see. What did I learn digitally? I learned to just consistently put stuff out. This is not a high production show. I don't think it's ever going to be. That is not something that is going to change. We're going to keep this very punk rock, very DIY, very you and me, mainstream, no fluff. That's how I do music. That's how I do books. That's how we're doing production. So we're going to keep that. But it has taught me the value of consistency. And to just, do what you know. Do what you're capable of. Be brave with it. Digital. Let's see. I don't want to talk about the future yet. Let's talk about some of our favorite books. Didn't see this coming. So I'm going to pick out the favorite books of the past year. And spoiler alert, they're all bricks. So these are in no particular order. But we're going to start with Lonesome Dove. Lonesome Dove was probably one of my first bricks. And I'm starting with this one. It was 857 pages. I read this with a book club. And this was a challenge. I didn't know if I could do something like this in a month. And I did it. And it taught me about the pace and what character development. And I wouldn't consider myself a big fan of Westerns, but like this was just so awesome of a book. It's not something that I would choose for myself. It's not like the topic or the kind of writing that I would want, but like if you just wanted like a huge, awesome epic, like this book ruled. It was a break from the am I understanding what's going on here weirdo stuff that I usually head towards. But Lonesome Dove, definitely one of the top books of the year. Where am I going to put these? I'm gonna have to make a stack of these and make a short after. So there you go. And if you noticed all week I'm wearing the same shirt, it's because I do all this right now, and then I read for the rest of the week. Not just like, whoa, I should make a video today. I should make a video today. Number 2. We got through the Count of Monte Cristo this year. Ho, ho, ho. Man, let's see. 1,262 pages plus. I found this in a lost little library, brand spanking new. These are all from me. And I like the size of this alone, but it's like the perfect size. It feels so good in the hands. But what an incredible book. Like this is one of the ultimate classics. And if you're intimidated by reading like the classics, start with this one because this has short chapters. And it is, I've said this before, I'll keep saying it over and over about this book. This is like binge watching your favorite show. This, like I had this as my secondary read for a number of months, and then I just made it the priority, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Excellent beach read. And if you have to go on a trip, bring this, because I doubt that you're going to plow through it on your vacation. So, The Count of Monte Cristo, man. Incredible. Now, let's see. We all know we're going to be talking about it. Here we go. G.R. Thomas Pynchon's magnum opus, Gravity's Rainbow. The one that everybody is so afraid of. And this is what got us the mantra for the year of the plow. Because I knew right off the bat, this is going to be a reread. This is going to be something that I revisit my whole life. And this is a first edition. This got a lot of people worked up because I was actually reading a first edition, putting it in my lunchbox and going to read it. And guess what? I don't regret it at all. But the next one, I'll get a new copy. I'll mark it up because I didn't mark this one up. I wasn't into marking them up before. But like this taught me like let the story, let the wildness, especially if you're going to be into this kind of Broadernist literature, let it wash over you. Let the story and the writing just consume everything. Allow yourself confusion. You don't need to know everything, and Thomas Pynchon's going to make sure that you don't know what's going on. Awesome book, totally wild, totally trippy, and it's designed, the designed paranoia in this book is just, it's awesome. Like, it's I think it's everything that everyone makes it out to be. The hype is real. Gravity's Rainbow, and it's, oh man, there's just so many parts where you're like, what? Like, did that really just happen? Insane. Okay, now we have William H. Gass, The Tunnel. This is definitely in the top 5 for the year. When I heard that this book is hard to get, I don't think so. So I did my searching and I paid a pretty penny for this one, but then it came and guess what? There's one page that's completely ripped out. And it just has to sit right there. And that is the only bad thing about this copy, but I do have a copy, and I kind of think that it's unique and interesting. But, like, as a book itself, like, what a piece of art this is. Like, and I've heard the stories of, like, this page. That was originally supposed to be printed on a paper bag, and the publisher was just like, what are you talking about? Like, you're insane. But this book is absolutely insane. This is like experimental noise metal in the book world. It's crazy. And it was a wild ride. It is one of the harder books to read. I don't know. Like, these two were the hardest books to read of the year, right here. The hardest ones, no doubt. And I read this one in tandem with listening to William Gass himself read this. Um, rough, rough subject matter, beautiful prose, but like gritty. I think we just dropped a bunch of Tupperware. Let's have some peppermint tea. Perfect. And I think the final of the top 5, big surprise. Mercia Carter Rescue, translated by Sean Cotter, Solenoid. This book was surrealist grime, and it sucked me in immediately, and in freaking incredible. This was one of those cool guy books that like everyone was ranting and raving about, and I kept getting asked a million times, have you read Solenoid? Have you read Solenoid? I was like, no. And this was probably the first book that I actually started taking a highlighter to it and getting some of the good stuff. Production was more important than children. The most enigmatic number a human ever imagined, one that eternally bites its own tail, as it does not delimit but excludes the infinity of the world, 0. Like that, those kind of gems. And I would not have turned on to this had I not been involved in creating content and been really paying attention to what everyone in the book world is doing. So those are my top, let's see, let's bring these up. These are my top 5 of the year, right here. What do you think? I just heard all my books move. Put those down for a second. Whew, man. But yeah, holy cow. Some other amazing books like War. This book was so grimy and gritty. This is one that's going to stick with me. And like I really paid attention to a lot more poetry this year. Yeah. Moby Dick. I can't believe that was within the year. I can't believe I read all this much. And let's go back to the notes. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place, but like, what else is new? What else would you expect from my 1 year? Not my 100th episode. Like, we're coming up on that too. Maybe next year. So, in the future, let's talk about the future. Like and subscribe, please. And when you do that, leave a comment on how you would like this channel to change. I have a couple of ideas that I'm thinking about. But for now, off the top of my head, we're going to do a short about the best short books. Let's do it right now. The best short books. War. These are the best short books. And I prioritize the big ones because I just like reading big maximalist books. They feel like much more of an accomplishment. But it's not to take anything away from the short books, but I like the big bricks. War. Hour of the Star. Where is it? Here we go. Dubliners. Oh, Dubliners. And let's see. The Prince. We read that in a day. That was cool. And this is one of those ones where it's like everyone has something to say. Read it yourself. Think for yourself. Question authority. Come up with your own opinions. Roberto Bolaño. Antwerp. This was a wild ride. Those are my shorties. Everything else is kind of medium. But all right, moving on. Like and subscribe and comment. Tell me what you're interested in. The future. I think I have written here better reviews, and I'm going to be taking more notes so I can give you more of a review. I've noticed that what I normally do is I'll let you know how the reading experience is. Shelf life is kind of like how the reading experience is going, my initial thoughts, my emotions about what I'm reading, but I never really dive into the subject matter of the book. And that's for two reasons. Number one, I'm intimidated because so many other people do such an incredible job of dissecting literature and getting at the root of like, oh yeah, that's what this book was about. Amazing. Like there's scholars and professors out there that I watch, and it's like, oh, you come to me for the layman. But we are going to attempt to do more of the review type. And here's another thing. If I do a real book review, number one, I can't talk around what happened in the book. I don't know how far you are, and that might be spoilers. And I don't want to spoil a book for somebody. And I could warn you and be like, hey, this one's going to be a spoiler. But if that's a shelf life and I say that there's spoilers, then those people miss out on a shelf life episode. I don't like that. And then it feels like a book report. I don't want to do that. I do have an idea. The page is getting bigger. The channel's getting bigger. And I now have the option to have subscribers and a subscription, and I would love it if you guys would support me in that way, but please do not feel obligated. But what I think I'm going to be doing in the future is if there's any specific book reviews that are like reviews where I'm going to be talking about what happened, talk about the end, I'm going to talk about what's going on, I think those are going to be a subscriber page, and that way I'm not talking on shelf life. Nothing on shelf life will change, nothing that is available now will change. But that way, if you go and you subscribe to this, then you already know, I want to know his opinion on this book because I've already read it. I don't care if there's spoilers. I know that they're going to get into it, and nobody misses out. I think that that would be a conducive thing to do in the future and can grow this page. Let me know what you think, because I'm trying to think like, what else would work in that way where nobody feels excluded. But like, I think that I should be stepping up to be giving more thorough reviews of what I'm reading. It's like I finished the book and then it's like we never really talk about it. Like, have we really talked about Moby D over here? Have we really gotten into any of these other ones? I think some of them I did Solenoid. That was probably a perfect example of what I'm talking about. But I think I should be doing more of those because I just get so hyped up. Like, hey, look what came in the mail. Hey, look what's going on. Let me talk about what's going on this month and next month. And I went on this run, and how does it all relate? Like, it gets fun. That's what this show is about. Shelf Life is about fun, what's going on, the updates and everything. It's not necessarily the reviews. Same thing with the reviews are also kind of unshelved, where I did one for The Tunnel where I went out in the woods, and I did another one for Dubliners when I went to the graveyard. We should be doing more of those, but those are more book reviews. Those are going to have, I tried to dance around spoiling, but I shouldn't do that. And I think we're just going to call them spoiled. So I think we're going to head in that direction. What else do I have? Is that it? You just listen to that humidifier. Yeah, guys, I think that's it. I think it was right around 30 books for my year. September is going to be our January, apparently, on this channel. These are my good short books. Let's just have a review. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. 5 short books that I read in a year that were awesome. Celine, War, Hour of the Star, Lispector. Joyce, Dubliners. Machiavelli, The Prince. Antwerp, Bolaño. Sorry if I butchered any pronunciations. But the big winners of the year, right here. Ooh. Lonesome Dove, Count of Monte Cristo, Gravity's Rainbow, The Tunnel, Solenoid. And finally that thing shut off. Guys, it has been such a pleasure making content with you guys this year. Let me know what you think. Let me know your recommendations. Let's keep this going. Much love. Much thanks. And I'll see you shortly. Later.